Jai Hind. In this video we will discuss about free fall and escape velocity. So when this kind of the question is asked in the exam, then you first write down the definition of the escape velocity. The definition of the escape velocity is the velocity at which object is able to overcome the downward pull by the earth and escapes in the space to never come back is called as escape velocity. And write down the escape velocity on the earth, which is 11.2 km per second. This part is to be written only if the question is asked for 1 mark, and if the question is asked for 3 marks, then you have to write the following points. Point number 1, velocity of the object decreases if it is thrown upward because of the earth gravitation. Take G as negative. Means whenever you throws object vertically upward direction, as the object goes up and up, the velocity of that object decreases because of the gravitational force of the earth. And when we are throwing object in vertically upward, then take G as a negative. Point 2, velocity becomes 0 after reaching certain height and starts falling. So as the object is moves or keeps on moving up and up, the velocity keeps on decreasing, and at certain point the velocity becomes 0, and from that point it again starts falling down. Point 3, maximum height depends on the initial velocity of the object. Means at what height the object will reach, that depends on the initial velocity of the object. So formula is given, S is equal to minus u square upon 2g, where S is a displacement or the height of the object when it is thrown vertically upward, u is the initial velocity, and g is a gravitational acceleration, that is to be taken negative. That's why S is equal to minus u square upon 2g. Point 4 is, more the initial velocity, more the height can be attained by the object. Means if you apply more force, if you throws the object with the larger velocity, then definitely that object will attain the maximum height. Point number 5, if the initial velocity increases further, object overcomes the earth pull and escapes in the space. This is what about the escape velocity if the question is asked for the 3 marks. Then now see free fall. If question is asked for 1 mark, write down the definition and give the example. Definition is, object when dropped from certain height reaches to the earth's surface under the influence of the force of gravity alone is said to be a free falling. Whenever you are dropping some objects, or if you release some objects from certain height, then that object reaches toward the surface of the earth. That is because of the influence of the earth gravitational force. For example, stone dropped from certain height experiences the free fall. That we can say that that object is experiencing the free fall whenever you releases some object from certain height. If the question is asked for the 3 marks, you have to write following 4 points. Point number 1 is, in free fall, initial velocity u of the object is 0, and take a is equal to g. Means a is acceleration, but as the object is moving vertically downward, take a is equal to g. Instead of acceleration, you take it as a acceleration due to gravity, and that denoted by small g. In free fall, initial velocity u is equal to 0 whenever you are releasing some object from certain height. So initially the velocity of the object remains 0. That's why it is given here u is equal to 0. Point number 2, velocity of the falling object goes on increasing as it moves towards the earth's surface. Means as the object is reaches or trying to reach towards the earth's surface, definitely the speed or the velocity of the object will increase because of the acceleration due to gravity. Point 3, during free fall, frictional force due to air opposes the motion of the object hence free falling is not possible in the Earth atmosphere. It means that when we are releasing some objects from certain height, already we have explained or described in the definition, the object when we are releasing from certain height that experiences the free fall. But in the atmosphere there are lots of gases and small dust particles, so that dust particles or the air tries to oppose the object which is falling down, or the frictional force of the air opposes the motion of the object, hence free falling is not possible in the atmosphere. And point 4 is practical example of free fall are moon and artificial satellites which revolving around the earth under the influence of the force of gravity. Means whenever there is a vacuum, then only it is possible the free falling. Means free falling is possible only in the vacuum. And point 5 is that if the object of different masses are dropped from the same height or released from the same height, then they will reach at the same time on the surface of the earth. That is irrespective of the masses of the objects. If the objects are dropped in the vacuum, then definitely both the object, irrespective of their masses, they will reach at the same time on the surface of the earth. That is called as a free falling. That's why the moon and the artificial satellites which are in the space and they are revolving around the earth, and as there is no air, there is no external force acting on the moon and the artificial satellites, both the objects or both the celestial objects are revolving around the earth. That is only because of the influence of the force of gravity.